In this video, I'm going to be answering one of the most common questions I get in domestic violence cases, which is, can I be convicted just based on one person's word? My name is Veronica, and I'm a criminal defense attorney here in California. I help people put their cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their freedom. All right, so can you be convicted based on the word of one other person with no other evidence? The answer to that is yes. There's this common misconception that when there's a he said, she said story, there's not enough evidence and you can't be convicted. And it's really dangerous to go into these criminal cases thinking that just because the only evidence is the testimony of one other person, there's not enough evidence to convict you. In fact, there's a jury instruction that is given in California cases that specifically says that the testimony of one person is enough. And a lot of people are surprised by that. Here's the jury instruction right here. It says, unless I instruct you otherwise, the testimony of only one witness can prove any fact. Before you conclude that the testimony of one witness proves a fact, you should carefully review all the evidence. This is an instruction that the judge will literally give the jury in criminal cases in California. Now, what can be done about this, you might ask? Maybe you have an ex who's lying about you, who called the cops on you because you tried to break up with her, and you are trying to figure out, well, what am I supposed to do about that? Okay, so if somebody is lying about you, you can poke holes in their story, and there are a few ways to do this. If there are any inconsistencies between what she says in court and what she told the police when you were arrested, those inconsistencies have to be pointed out. The best way to do this is generally to get copies of the body-worn video. So the cops wear cameras on their uniforms. You want to get copies of that and see exactly what did she say to the police. And then you can confront her in court with video of her saying something different than she just said. That is an incredibly powerful way to do it. 911 calls can also be a really important way to show inconsistencies. Many times if someone's lying and they're making a 911 call, they haven't fully thought through their story yet. So if they're testifying months later, maybe a year later, it's going to be difficult for them to remember what they said. If you're telling the truth, generally it's not going to be that difficult to be consistent. But if you're telling a lie, remembering exactly what fictionalized story you told a year later, it could be really, really tough when you've never listened to that at all. You've never had the chance to review it at all that entire time. If she testified in a prior court hearing, or if she testifies in more than one court hearing, then it's going to be really important to look through what she said in one court hearing compared to what she says in another and point out any significant changes to her story. Another way to discredit her is if she's saying that you caused injuries to her, then look at those injuries, and sometimes we'll have a medical expert actually do this. Look at those injuries and see if they are likely to be caused in the way that she says that you caused them. Perhaps she's saying you caused a bruise, but a bruise would not have likely developed that quickly. That's going to be really important to discredit her statement. And finally, another way to discredit her is to point out parts of her story that just don't make sense. Where if you imagine all the events as she describes them happening in your mind, it just seems far-fetched, physically impossible, depending on the situation, etc. Pointing out all of that is important. I hope you found this video helpful. Remember, if you are accused of domestic violence, it's important to know that you can be convicted just based on somebody getting up on the stand and telling a lie, but there are ways to combat these things. And if you do have a domestic violence case in California, feel free to give me a call. You can find the link to book a consultation with me down below. You can also find my phone number there. And please, if you found this video helpful, do not forget to subscribe, like, and ring the bell.